In the top stories, a regional economist dismisses central bank growth forecasts. The BWA's main lane program set to enter a new phase, and the WICB names 2 new captains. Welcome to Nation News for Friday, September 4th, 2015. I'm Natasha Beckles. A regional economist has questioned the central bank projection that the Barbados economy will grow by between 2 and 2.5% over the next 2 to 3 years. Instead, Marla Ducaran, an economist with RBC Financial Caribbean, says she agrees with the International Monetary Fund's opinion. That body has suggested that growth is not going to reach 2% in Barbados until 2020. Speaking during Royal Fidelity's annual investor forum at Hilton Barbados, Ms. Ducaran said even if Barbados reaches the target, the performance would be misleading since the size of the economy has shrunk by 5.4% since 2008. Minister of Transport and Works Michael Ashley has been sharing further details about the pilot project, which will see the integration of privately owned public service vehicles and transport board buses. Speaking during a recent discussion on public transport, he said the 6-month project will be launched on November 1st with 6 private buses and 5 government-owned buses. The private operators will be selected by an ongoing tendering process which will close on September 16th. They will operate on 3 routes: Sturgis St. Thomas, Martins Bay St. John, and Edie Village Christchurch. As the Barbados Water Authority's mains lane project in Roebuck Street, the city, comes to a close, officials are preparing to do similar work in Tweedside Road. General Manager of Infra Inc., Roger Gill, who is responsible for the project, spoke to Nation News on Thursday.
We are doing an extension to the Roebuck Street here at Tweedside Road, where we propose to commence this work on the 16th of this month and complete by the end of October. We're replacing 14-inch main with a high-density polyethylene 16-inch main, and Tweedside Road will be restricted to one-way traffic. That's one-way into Bridgetown. And I urge motorists to avoid using Tweedside Road and expect delays if they do.
Project engineer Shelley Paris urged businesses like salons and restaurants to store water during the period.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a 1,000-gallon tank, but you can get something smaller. You can start with the buckets, 5-gallon buckets that everybody usually has at home to do whatever is required. But at least when you start making that provision, you don't even have to start with buckets. You can start with something as simple as pet bottles. Just start putting down that water so that you can make an alternate arrangement for what you're planning to do for that day, right? And so that also to have provision with storage so that when our tankers do come around, they can deliver something to you. Because if you don't have anything, we can't deliver anything to you. And the public also needs to understand that those tankers have a limit, especially in an area like Tweedside. If we go out, it's going to take hours for us to actually get water to everyone, because the tankers can only hold so much, and by the time they come through, say one main road like St. Hill Road, they have to go back again and fill up and come back. So it takes a long time for the tankers to get around. So during an outage, there needs to be some element of patience with the supply via that method.
Legislation that deals specifically with human trafficking will go before Parliament when sittings resume in October. This is according to Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite, who addressed a 2-day workshop on the draft National Plan of Action on Thursday. He said trafficking and smuggling, which are currently covered under varying acts, will now be brought together into a single piece of legislation. Mr. Brathwaite says the move is in response to concerns expressed by the United States State Department. 200 people are working feverishly to get Dominica's Douglas Charles Airport up and running by early next week. Only search and rescue aircraft have been allowed to land following the passage of Tropical Storm Erika, but government officials want to see LIAT flights bringing in tourists as soon as possible. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has revealed that it will take nearly 40 million East Caribbean dollars or 30 million Barbados dollars to return the airport to full operation. Every piece of equipment has been destroyed. In the meantime, the runway has been cleared and the interior and arrival and departure lounges are being industrially cleaned. Mr. Scarrett says the country faces a massive preliminary repair bill.
The report from the Ministry of Public Works, the estimate, and we're talking about just roads and bridges, justice. It doesn't include homes, it doesn't include, reconstruction of the roads in Pidgin Savannah and other communities like that. You're talking about some of the main roads and the village roads. The estimate which has been provided by the Ministry of Works is in the tune of $612,700,000. So $612,700,000. And as I said, that will not include the resettlement of several families and the attendant cost associated with that exercise. This is going to be a huge undertaking. It's going to be an expansive undertaking in order to restore the infrastructure.
Now, do you have an extraordinary friend, neighbor, or co-worker? Well, Digicel wants to hear from you. The telecommunications company has launched a new campaign called Extraordinary Bajan, which seeks to highlight outstanding Barbadians. The first person to carry the title is Neil Alvin, creator of the internationally acclaimed fashion website Black Girls Killing It. CEO of Digicel Barbados, Johnny Ingle, says the company is looking to highlight one person each month for the next year.
Every month, a steering committee within Digicel will identify those extraordinary Bajans that deserve support, acknowledgement, and simply to be talked about. It's that simple. We've had lots of internal conversations. We know that the economy is challenged here. We understand that there are issues and challenges right across Barbados. But what we must be incredibly mindful of, there is talent, there is success, there is drive, there is ambition, there is courtesy, there is respect. Everything that underpins the best of Bajan society.
Competitors in this year's Junior Calypso Monarch competition were given a treat on Friday when they were sent 130 feet below sea level on the Atlantis submarine. Senior festival event planner with the National Cultural Foundation, Karen Pastina, said the opportunity was offered to participants involved in the preliminaries, semifinals, and finals of the competition. The invitation was also extended to youth volunteers and members of the band as a thank you for their hard work over the just concluded Cropover Festival. Gregory Hartley is now the proud owner of a brand new 2015 Suzuki Swift Desire. He won the A1 Supermarket, Quaker Oats and Simpson Motors Summer Promotion competition and was presented with the keys to the vehicle on Thursday. Mr. Hartley says he's a regular shopper at Carlton Supermarket, but he was shocked when he heard he won the car. In sport, the West Indies Cricket Board has changed the captains of the men's test team and the women's team. Barbadian Jason Holder, who is already the one-day international captain, takes over the test side from Trinidad and Tobago's Dinesh Ramdin, who held the post for 15 months. On the women's side, Jamaican Stephanie Taylor replaces long-standing Marissa Aguilera of Trinidad and Tobago. The West Indies men will tour Sri Lanka in October, while the women will be at home to Pakistan. Full details are on nationnews.com. And finally, police in Maine have issued a distracting driving summons to a man they say crashed into a tree while taking a selfie with his passengers, injuring several of them. According to police, 29-year-old Jordan Toner leaned over to take a cell phone photo with some of his 7 passengers, and the vehicle veered off the road and crashed into a tree. Authorities say 2 women in the front seat who were not wearing seatbelts suffered the most serious injuries. And that's Nation News for Friday. For more news, log on to nationnews.com as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Remember to pick up your papers over the weekend or subscribe to our e-paper and look out for the Weekend Buzz a little later. Thank you so much for joining us.